Hey, this is Keena B, and welcome to Say Anything. Say anything.
Why can't you just say anything?
I'm gonna say anything.
People just say anything.
I swear, people just say anything. Welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. Hey, and welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. I am Keena B. Thank you so much for joining me. I have my coffee, and this is another podcast. I am in the gallery. I am at Wimbia's Market in Quincy, Florida, and it's a beautiful space, and we're utilizing it in every possible way that it can be utilized. So whenever you have a chance and you're in town, you're in Quincy, stop by the market and say hey to me. Look at the artwork from different artists, both local and international, from Zambia. And even maybe you'll see a few of my pieces. So come on in and stop by. So what are we going to be talking about today? I'm going to talk about grassroots, what it means to start something up grassroots, and I have notes. So for those of you who are interested in talking about what it means to start something from the root, meaning grassroots, then keep listening because that's what we're going to talk about today. And this is completely relatable to me because starting this business that I have, what is a grassroots operation. We're in our second year. We opened April of 2024, and it is now, I am recording this September of 2025. So we've been open for over a year and about a half. May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, it'll be a year and a half in next month, actually, October. And, you know, starting a business is not without its struggles. It's not without its downfalls. It definitely has lessons and challenges, but it also is probably one of the best things and experiences that I have ever had when it comes to reaffirming what I have the ability to do. Affirming and reaffirming some of the skill sets that I practiced way back in the day that I'm having to practice again, and then learning new skill sets for the first time, and and engaging in them. Also stepping outside of my comfort zone a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I cannot emphasize that enough. So much. So much stepping outside of my comfort zone, because being an employee and being a business owner are two totally different ways of thinking. Not just the realities of administrative work, but actual the thinking, methodology, strategy, all those different things. You have much more to think about because you're not just showing up, doing something, and leaving. It carries with you. Constantly re-strategizing and pivoting. And even if you have a 3-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, having to strategize within the plan because things are not going like you think they should be going, or meeting the benchmarks that you want to meet. But even if you meet a benchmark, you're still pivoting because how you're meeting it may not be how you expected to meet it. And so you're constantly changing. Myself, I'm constantly changing. I have learned so much about myself since opening the art gallery, but I've also learned a lot about other people. When I tell you I've learned so much about other people, I thought I couldn't be surprised, but it's when they say there are levels to this thing, there really are levels to it. To business ownership, to business acumen, and things just don't present themselves all at once. It As you pass a hurdle, the skill set goes up, you pass another hurdle, the skill set goes up, you pass another hurdle, the skill set goes up, you get a different challenge every single time. And the biggest challenge is constantly managing expectations. I say top three challenges I have: managing my expectations, um, networking, networking, and maintaining those. I don't know, there's a different way to say this. So, managing my expectations. What was number two? I don't know. Networking. I think that was number three. I'm missing number two. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna remember this brain. This brain. Doing this at 44 is strange. I really should have did this in my 20s. I should have tried all of this in my 20s, and went for it then. But when I was kind of raised that not be an entrepreneur, not at a full-time level. I was raised to really get a job and work for someone else. Not that we didn't have an entrepreneurial spirit, like little things here and there, sell chips, sell, you know, candy, raise money for charity, type of entrepreneurial spirit. You know what I mean? Not necessarily go out on your own and strike on your own and try to do it 100% on your own. That's a different type of level to it. And then there's always the keep a job while you're doing what you do. I always found that interesting advice, mainly because it was always conflicting with other advice that I would be getting from mostly entrepreneurs who will be like, you need to go all in. And then there were those who would say you need to keep a job because you can't just do one thing. And there's some middle ground there, actually. Neither one of those is bad advice. They're both good advice, actually. But the issue is building while you are learning. Building while you're learning is such an adjustment. Such an adjustment. And networking is so much harder than it looks. So much harder than it looks. So, managing expectations, networking, and then the last one would be the managing relationships. That's how I want to say it. Managing relationships. And how you relate to the different people that come in and out of your space in your life. I find that my mindset is typically different from individuals, and I I have this like earnestness when I am attempting to do things, and I pretty much just tell people off the top everything, the truth of all of it, which I am learning is they don't necessarily always believe the truth. They think it's almost like everything is a sell. Everything is a power move for individuals. And I'm not and that to me is playing politics, and I don't play politics in that way. So it's just strange to me. I never thought business ownership would be a lot of politicking, but it is. It's like a lot of politicking. And I don't necessarily know how to maneuver that all the time, because I'm just a girl, as Gwyneth Paltrow said. No, that's not Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwen Stefani said, "I'm just a girl in the world." You know what I mean? In her song. And here I am, just trying to run a business and encourage and engage. And in the middle of all that, you have to politic in order to get things done or moved. And it's like, I just want to sell art. I just want to sell art. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to sell art and have community engagement and drink wine and drink coffee and have great conversations. And people are busy politicking. And sometimes I just honestly don't know how to maneuver it. This is good. This is good coffee. I had to take a sip. So what it means to be grassroots. Let's start there. It's literally in the name, grass and roots. And when you think of grass, you think that it's small, tiny blades, right? And the roots are really thin, depending on the type of grass. Now, this is the type of grass I'm thinking of. The roots tend to be shallow, and it goes into the ground just a little bit, just enough for the grass to grow up. And you're starting from the bottom. What do the kids say? Getting it out of the mud. And that is a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of watering for grass to grow. A lot of time and patience. And some areas are more mineral rich than others, right? So it doesn't take as much effort for it to sustain. And some areas are just dry desert, and you're trying to make grass grow where there's a desert and lack of water, and it just doesn't take hold, and it dies, and it turns brown. That is what grassroots is. Grassroots is literally the bottom of the bottom, getting it out of the mud, as they say. You don't have income, or maybe you have income, like you have a savings that you started with. I had a savings that I started with, which was a part of the strategic plan, right? Because if you're doing it, hopefully if you're going in business for yourself, you have a plan. You have written out some type of business plan. You have some type of funds that you start with. That is the hope. But even with a plan and a savings, things can go left and right very quickly. Very quickly. Very quickly. And that is where those hard lessons start coming in. And about what it really means to be a startup, about the effort that it takes to continuously drive yourself forward and do the next best thing in order to keep your business alive and afloat. Different types of advice from people all the time. They'll say, oh, if you can just make it a year, you'll be fine. That's not true. If you could just make it 2 years, you'll be fine. If you could just make it 3 years, you'll be fine. They will say these things as if there is a timeline or a quantification on fine. There is no timeline on fine. You're either in it for the long haul or you're not, right? So you're either trying to get to the next step or you're trying to stop and walk away. And I was listening to Fawn Weaver. She is the CEO of Uncle Nearest. And currently Uncle Nearest is going through some issues with court issues, okay? And so she gets online a lot. I follow her on her social media platforms. And she talks about reaffirming to people about how the business is still businessing and she is still the head of the business. And that one thing though that she talks about, because there's a gag order and she can't talk much, is that no matter what is happening, that Uncle Nearest is going to keep going, keep thriving, and she asks for everybody to keep supporting. But she also talks about how if you are a quitter, then getting into business or being an entrepreneur is not the thing for you. So if you are one, she would say, if you are one to start and stop things because they get hard very easily, then you don't need to get into business. And basically what I took from that is, if you're not able to see all the ways through, like not necessarily that something comes to a conclusion and you end it, right? Because it came to an actual conclusion. But that if you don't fight every single fight that needs to be fought before you walk away, if you haven't put every single bit of effort into what it is that you're trying to do, then you don't need to be in business, because it requires you to put every bit of your effort and resources and time and energy in what you're trying to do. It requires you to learn. It requires you to get uncomfortable. It requires you to step out of every comfort zone and at every level and have hard conversations with individuals. Even the trendiest businesses, even the businesses that have a lot of support or people naturally need, like food, requires effort. I'm an art. The effort is ridiculous. Like, because it's like climbing uphill in the snow. In the art industry where I'm at, where I chose to be at, climbing uphill on a mountain with peaks in the snow in the winter, without the right equipment. I might have equipment, but it's not the top of the line equipment. Do you get what I'm saying? And with no guide but God. But God. Don't we love him? Won't he do it? So getting being grassroots is not for the faint of heart. It requires a lot of participation. It requires that I engage with the community. For the record, that I don't live amongst. I work amongst them, but I don't live amongst them. So I don't see them in every space that I go into. But even those that I live amongst, I don't see. I am a homebody. I am naturally, I like to be in comfortable spaces. I am more likely to sit and read a book and enjoy a cup of coffee at home. I love like family fun style places. Um, in coffee shops and bookstores. I mean, I would go to a bookstore and just sit and enjoy a space like that forever. And so, yes, of course, I would have an art gallery. I used to like to go to art galleries, still do. Go to art galleries, wander around, look at art, enjoy the different things that people have to offer. But what I did not see near me was a space like that where I could go look at art, drink some coffee, sit, have a good conversation, be at peace, and maybe get a little shopping in if I wanted to. I might see something I like, I might not, you know. Just the ability to come in and sit is great to be able to do. But messaging is difficult, like getting the message out there. Typically, startups like resonate with individuals because it caters to the community and the culture around it. It's really accessible, and we are very accessible. All of our art is pretty much, most of our art is emerging artists, meaning they're newer, not necessarily in age. It has nothing to do with age as much as it just has to do with how established they are in the art community, how long they've been practicing art, a mixture of self-taught or educated. All of that has to do with whether or not they're considered emerging. And so we focus on emerging, which is a whole nother different hurdle to cross. You're being someone's cheerleader and also campaign person. Like I'm marketing individuals, I'm promoting individuals, I'm cold calling for individuals. The lesson that I'm learning is how to convey how much people need art in their lives. You need art in your lives. You just do. I need art in my life. I think about how my childhood would have been vastly different had I not had art engagement in my life. When you have a startup, sometimes you feel like it's the best idea in the world and people are going to just gravitate to it immediately. And you should feel that way. Actually, you should be extremely positive and feel. You have to have some level of delusion. But you have to be able to manage the expectations because people might not always catch on as fast as you want them to catch on. And awareness may not just be like that. And then the support system that you have or don't have may not reveal itself immediately. Some things take a lot of time. There's a lot of personal sacrifice. A lot of personal sacrifice, meaning your time with yourself, your time with your family, working from home. I believe in life-work balance. I believe in managing my time so that I can have time with family and work and myself. But it is obvious in the last 2 years that my time, my life-work balance has shifted, right? Because what I could do as an employee and what I can do as a business owner are two different things. They're just two different things. So I like what I'm doing. So when you like what you're doing, you will tend to ease that work into time frames that don't go with it. Like I'm working from home and I should be putting the computer down, you know? And then I have to tell myself, okay, stop. It's 10 o'clock at night, stop. Don't answer that email, stop. Do you know what I mean? Like I have to monitor myself so that I don't overwork. I have to remind myself to drink water. I'll drink coffee all day. I have to deal with messiness. And that comes with networking and managing relationships. It comes with the administrative work. Learning about the permitting process was hard for me for different things, whether it was the alcohol license or food permits. It was difficult, right? There was never really one clear answer. And even if I was asking the right questions, if I was asking the wrong person the right questions, I did not get the right answers. So you have to find the right person to ask the right questions in order to get the right answers. And then understanding the answers. Because sometimes people are speaking the language they know because they work that language. It's like legalese, basically. I went to law school. So when a person is speaking in what they call legalese, which is the language of law, right? What they're meaning behind the term is not what an average person would understand behind that term. So that happens in every industry. That happens in every industry. So someone who is speaking tech terms to me, like learning about the SEOs, search engine optimization, and learning about SaaS, and learning about those different components, teaching myself to use tools that I did not have to use while I was employed, the technological tools that are available to me outside of employment. I had to teach myself these things. Before, I used certain technology sparingly while I was employed because I did not have to use much of it outside of my employment, because it wasn't my main moneymaker, right? And then I became an entrepreneur and I had to learn these technologies, learn these software, relearn some software that I did not actively use every day, because it became vital to how I run and conduct my business. That I have to use these things. That I can't just have a cursory understanding anymore or a general understanding. I need to have a full understanding of certain things before I can push forward, or to make myself better at something. And so that all comes out under messiness and challenges, and but that's doable, right? Learning something new is doable. Dealing with personalities, that right there, maintaining relationships, that networking thing is a whole nother animal in itself. Like I mentioned, that politicking is just, people will take things personal that don't need to be taken personal. Okay? People will misunderstand you, or they will understand you but choose to misunderstand you. They'll take your kindness for weakness. They'll try to manipulate you, stonewall you. All those things. That's the negative aspects. But then you have the positive ones, the people who embrace you, the ones who just immediately want to support, the ones that will have an encouraging word, genuinely encouraging, and not the good luck. The good luck. Honey, I'm just saying, I hope you're watching the video so you can see my facial expressions. If you're not on Spotify is free to sign up, by the way. It's completely free to sign up. No, they are not paying me to say this. You can listen and watch podcasts and the music for free. They're just ads. You have to, if you don't want to pay for the service, then there are ads. Like most streaming services, they have ads to support it if you're doing it for free. But at least you get to see me. And then you can actually see my face and not just hear my voice, and get a real, you know, you can see my facial expressions while I'm while I'm making these comments. So anyway, so join Spotify and then follow me there, okay? Or continue to listen on YouTube. Messiness. Having to make decisions about what stays and what goes, what products, reviewing the statistics, inventory. I mean, depending on what your business is, you have different aspects to it. I have inventory. I have contracts, negotiations. I have vendors, and I have events that I do. So there's a lot of relationship building that I have had to do, but also you partner with people in order to cut costs, because the one thing that a startup cannot do is just spend money. You can't sustain. It's not sustainable to just spend money on things, but it is also not sustainable not to promote, market, and do everything you can to bring people into your space so that you can sell products, so that you can buy more product. That's what you're doing. You're selling product to buy more product. You're selling product to buy more product, in order to have something available for people to see and to have events and things like that, at least in my case. Realities. There's a lot of up and down with doubt, or skepticism, or belief. Am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right move? Will this work? If it doesn't work, should I try it again? Is it one of those things that I have to try for a good year before I give up on it? Or, and when I say give up on, I mean, like, is this product not worth continuing to have in store? Is this relationship no longer reasonable to maintain? Am I being leached? Is this a shared relationship, or is it just one person is receiving more from it than the other type of relationship? And so that's a really difficult question right there, because what I find is people will underestimate how much you're doing for them and overestimate how much they're doing for you. They'll put so much value on what they're doing, which is, for those who can't see, it's like I have a little bitty inch of it. The bare minimum. People will assume that what they're doing is more, the impact that they're having is more than what they're actually having. You know what I mean? And then they assume that what you're doing is not having the same impact. And so perception-wise, it's hard, because how do you explain everything that you do behind the scenes that people just don't see, and to make people appreciate what it is that you do that people don't see. You know, that's difficult. When to let things drop, when to let things just completely, like, okay, let me just give up on this aspect completely. or let me go full in on this aspect because this might actually be helpful. This might drive things inward. That right there. Okay, what else? Sustainability challenges. I'm not even at a scaling phase right now. I'm nowhere near. The scaling is not an issue for me right now. I'm not there yet. I'm at the funding part, maintaining sustainability, and then getting funding, sustainability. That's where I'm at. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do right now. Sustain. They use that word a lot on NPR. Can you and y'all donate to NPR? Yeah, so that they can sustain. So I'm at that part, sustaining. And it's rough out here in these entrepreneurial streets. It is rough. I'm just being real with you. Connect to me. If you are a business owner, entrepreneur, and you have a grassroots business that you are into right now, please comment. Share with me your biggest lesson that you learned. That your biggest takeaway that has helped you no matter where you are. Because there are lessons that I've learned that have helped me outside of the business. Now, I may not like politicking, but there are lessons that I have learned from having to politic that I will take with me everywhere. I will just take with me everywhere. Like, not talking with everybody who asks questions or about everything. Like, because everybody's intentions are not the same. They're just not the same. And they may not have your heart, right? They don't have your particular way of being. So don't share everything with people. Keep some things to yourself. Keep it just, not that it's a secret, do you know what I mean? But just keep it to yourself until you get to a point where it really won't matter. Do you know what I mean? Some things just never have to be said. Having the ability to have really hard conversations and telling people exactly where you're at, whether they believe you or not. I have that. I don't know if they always believe it, but the fact of the matter is, my dad used to always say, people who have done nothing wrong do not have to defend themselves. And that's pretty much it. If you've done nothing wrong, you don't have to defend what you've done. You can acknowledge how it may have impacted somebody else, but you don't have to defend it. Do you get the difference? Because sometimes sometimes it's not that anybody is doing anything wrong. Everybody's doing the next best thing that helps them, but people don't like the outcome of it. And that's going to happen. You're going to have those conversations that are hard. Nobody did anything wrong. They didn't do anything wrong on their part. You didn't do anything wrong on your part. But the outcome just wasn't what anybody wanted. And so feelings could get hurt in the process. But you have to move on. Like, you can acknowledge it, but don't stand in it. Don't create a burden where there is none. It's uncomfortable, but move on. A big lesson, like, because there's no way to please everybody. Perfect. You're just not going to do it. So some rewards from having a startup. Rewards. Ownership. The fact that I can say I own something, the fact that I can say I ran it, I managed it, I have had several skill sets that I have had to activate and use. I have set goals and met those goals. I have set goals and not met those goals. And I'm still smiling about it because I learn something every single time. Every single time. There is a methodology. There is a methodology. And I'm getting ready to jump into that next level of methodology. Resilience is a reward. I am so much more resilient than I ever thought. Because when you're young, you're resilient because you don't know not to be. Childlike resilience is wonder and imagination and curiosity. Let me see if I can. So I will, right? Where adult resilience is everybody's telling me I can't, and I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to try anyway. I will die on this hill before I let somebody tell me that I can't. Type of resilient. And I appreciate that because it allows me to know that I'm stronger than the words that people try to project on me. I'm stronger than the thoughts. I'm stronger than the ideas that people have about me. And everybody should have that type of resilience. Everybody should have the resilience of, I am going to do this regardless. I am going to do this in spite of what you say is possible. Because if they can fly a man to the moon, then I can attempt this as well. There's nothing that's impossible. Not even the word impossible. Who said that? Audrey Hepburn, I think, said that possible is in the word. What's another reward? Legacy. And I know people think about legacy as a long-term thing. I actually think of it as small impact. Have you guys ever heard of the butterfly effect? Butterfly effect is basically when a butterfly flaps its wings, it creates ripples of wind. The wind affects the current, like the weather system, and affects the whole ecosystem. I can't think of which particular butterfly it is. I think it's probably the monarch, but because I believe the monarch is the one that flies really long, like over the ocean and everything, like long distances. But the whole point is that it's a small butterfly, right? You wouldn't think that they would have such power, but even their flaps that create a wind can impact weather systems that come across the earth. And they call that the butterfly effect. It's like the ripple. Another analogy would be you throw the stone in the water and it makes a ripple, and the ripple gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That same analogy, right? So that's what I feel my legacy is right now. Anyway, I'm hoping that it'll be even bigger. I'm aiming for big legacy, but right now I'm having the butterfly effect, and I know it. Like I've been told, like I'm literally in the name of the business and everything is in history, and we're on record. We're in a county record somewhere as having impact in an essay contest. A young lady wrote about how the legacy, how labor in the area has changed, and then mentioned us as part of that change, and that they appreciated us as being a part of the new fabric of the community, and that to me is a butterfly effect. And even if I'm not, but even if I closed today, that cannot be taken away. That cannot be taken away. And how many other businesses can say that they have had that honor? So that to me is amazing. It's amazing the things that I have been able to accomplish in under 2 years with this business. And I plan to keep going because, hey, I'm resilient. If you're thinking about starting a business and you're a startup, things that I want you to consider, and I'm wrapping this up. Consider your resources, consider your funding heavily. If you can work part-time while you're doing the business, then do so. If you can't, then make sure that you have the support and the savings that will allow you to drive through those really difficult times. Get a business coach. Get a business coach, okay? Someone that will tell you the truth, even if you don't want to hear it, and ask the questions that need to be asked, because it is necessary. It'll save you money. It'll save you time. Be consistent. I'm still being consistent. Make changes if you have to make changes. Don't be afraid to make changes, but be consistent. Celebrate every small win. I mean, every single small win. Do not take those small wins for granted, but don't just stay there. You can't stay there. Acknowledge it, celebrate them, and then move forward. And I'd say the same thing for bad things. When bad things happen, acknowledge it, learn from it, move forward. Everything is a move forward moment. Everything, good or bad. You got to acknowledge it, learn from it, move forward. My mom used to say that a friend of hers would always say, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to pout, and then you got to keep it moving. So that's how I activate. That's how I act. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and then you got to get it. You got to get going. You got to move on to the next thing. You got to keep going. And that's grassroots. All right. I hope you enjoyed this podcast today. And if you did, please like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you. Have a great day.